See, when it comes to attraction, people tend to go off this trend that's been going on in terms of looks maxing. People thinking that, it's just money, you don't need to work on anything else, just get more money. Or better yet, just be confident. Be confident and you'll get your way. But no one really talks about where true attraction stems from. In my channel, I talk about having the physique that's going to signal that, of course, but the core true essence, which I believe is embodied within even my brand. The thing that has always gotten me opportunities, attracted certain things within my life, was the state of being disciplined. It was always the state of being disciplined. And I don't believe that's talked about enough. People find ways in terms of certain what skincares to get. Work on your looks. Do this split, aesthetic physique. Be more confident, but they don't talk about how that shit is gained. They don't talk about how that shit is gained. What is the purest thing that builds attraction within your life? Physique, opportunities, things around you. It all comes down to discipline. And the thing about that is the people around you would feel that. The people around you would feel that. Women will feel that. They will feel that without even understanding why that is. But it's something that just happens instantly. Their attraction is instantly through the state of being disciplined. Hey, welcome back, guys. So in this video, I'm going to be basically breaking down in terms of why discipline is the foundation for men when it comes to attraction. Not no motivation, not no game, not no hype, none of that. Simply why it's the foundation. And also why every man who's working on themselves mentally, socially, physically, why they develop this thing, whether they know it or not. See, men don't realize that discipline shows itself through a woman's lenses in terms of how you walk, how you talk, how calm you are, right? And most of the time, these individual men, you don't see from them that they're too fidgety. They're all over the place. They have this calm state about them that they're always in. It always seems like they're going according to their rule, their domain. And they're not seeking approval. They're not seeking approval. And you may ask, why? Well, why is that? Why does it always seem that way? Is because through the discipline is worked on internally. It gives you internal orders. It gives you internal order in the sense of having high standards for yourself. Showing up for yourself each and every single day. Keeping your promises to yourself and actually doing what you said you were going to do. Even on the days where you don't want to, which those days count the most. Those are the days that matter the most. And the thing is, women can sense that, man. That calmness is what gets signaled out to women for being confidence. That signals out confidence. You don't have to be this loud, having the need to portray confidence. No, you don't need none of that. Simply you being present, being calm, understanding your worth. That's all you really need to be in. And you develop that in the state of, you develop that discipline, being in that state of discipline along your self-improvement journey. And I'm never a real advocate for being fucking humble. I honestly don't like that fucking word. I think it's fucking bullshit. Because I think it just puts you below when you're humble. This isn't to say to become arrogant, that you're going to develop being arrogant. No, the word I truly love that describes this state is being grounded. Being grounded. I think that's the best terminology for that word. And what men should always strive to be. Fuck this humble shit, bro. That shit doesn't get you nowhere. Honestly. So let's bring it to the physique. Obviously, being this channel, we got to bring it back to the physique. And the thing is with discipline and building this physique when you're in this state is the fact that what gets signaled out, what gets signaled out through the work that you put in is a lot more deeper than what people think. Showcasing things like delayed gratification, right? Showcasing things like you show up for yourself even when you don't want to. You do the hard things even when no one's watching. Don't need no damn crowd around you to fucking hype you up. You do it anyways because you know it's necessary. And women are wired to notice that. They notice that immediately without you even saying a fucking word. You have to be a different type of person to acquire a lean physique that is respectable throughout to many people, especially women, and they know that. They know that it took hard work, discipline, doing those hard things, doing those hard daily tasks, within sticking to your diet, following your plan, the work it fucking takes. You know, because that leanness, acquiring that leanness, just showcases leadership. Leadership because you showed up for yourself each and every single day. That shit has to be fucking earned, and they know that. Because the thing is, you don't get that fucking physique by accident. You don't get that physique by accident. And here's another thing that guys miss or don't understand that discipline takes out. It takes out the trait of being neediness. You know, always needing approval. Always needing approval. You're letting other people's opinion dictate your actions. You know, this is where guys will hear one thing. Hold on. Actually, this is where I remember I was texting a fellow buddy of mine. And this is something very common that happens within the space of, you know, the physique, gym culture, all this shit. He says something about why he says something about like why do guys get offended when they get accused for steroids and all this shit, right? And I simply replied back saying it's because they still care about other people's opinion. They're not grounded within themselves. They have fragmented identities. Because when you care about what other people think, but you know you put in the work to acquire a certain physique that a lot of people would kill for. Yes, kill for. When you still care about other people's opinions, guys, you'll have mental warfares with yourself. This is where you can be doing all the right things, but then someone says something and it puts you off completely. Which brings it back to my point. Fragmented identities. You let some other person's opinion steer you off. Steer you off your center. Now you're moving and acting towards the opinion of that person. But that comes from the sense of needing approval. That discipline completely annihilates. When you have structure for yourself, when you're dialed in with everything, hitting your workouts, sticking to your nutrition, all things that you prioritize in becoming this best version of yourself, you're never going to seek approval for doing any of those things when they have positive reinforcement. They have positive reinforcements within your life. They aid in seeing progression within your life. You're not going to need approval when you're doing all that shit. When you're choosing to do all those things, you're not going to seek approval. And this goes even to other areas of your life. When you have your priorities in check, when you got a schedule that you follow by, making sure that those, whether those hard tasks get done or even the tedious ones, the small ones that seem insignificant from the jump, but play a bigger role later on within the months, years. You're not going to tolerate anything that opposes that. Even with women, guys. Even with women, you're not going to seek someone's approval if they're not giving you the time of day. If you're not getting reciprocated in energy back, you don't need to continue on with that convo. You don't need to do too much when you're receiving very little to nothing. You don't. But when you do these things, when you double text, when you keep going out of your way, that's what's going to have you be in a constant mental battle, mental warfare within your own mind. You're going to be a slave. You're going to be a slave in your own mind, seeking approval from other people who don't really serve you any good. So with all that being said, man, when you develop that discipline, bro, you're not going to overthink. You're not going to over-explain, which a lot of you do. Over-explaining everything. Well, I'm not here. You can't just accept and be present and be calm. Center yourself. Always needed to explain. But the discipline, with discipline, moving in that state, you're not going to do that. You're not going to do any of that goofy ass shit. How can you? You got things to do. You got bigger things to worry about. But you'll handle them in a calm manner. Not chaotic, not sporadic, not having to do too much. Never that. Never that. And women don't want a man who needs them to feel whole. To need them to fix their life. They don't want that shit. They don't want that shit. How can they be the one? How can they be the one to help you understand your worth? Does that sound attractive to them whatsoever, let alone yourself? Fuck no. Fuck no. So the thing is, you have to understand is that discipline is going to build that attraction. That discipline is going to build that attraction to where you feel whole within yourself, that you know you're that dude, that you have your priorities in check, that you're a man who has his own direction. That's what they're attracted to. They're not going to feel safe with a chaotic dude. They're not going to feel safe with a dude who's all over the place. They need stabilization. They need control. Not you controlling them. Don't mix my words. I'm just saying they need that sense from you. That you have control. That you got this shit. And the only way you're gonna be able to do that is being in that disciplined state. Being in the sense of calmness. That's the only way you're gonna operate that's the only way you're gonna function as a man. That's the only way you should function as a man. And when you're constantly training your body, building that discipline, making sure you're well rested, prioritizing those things to then put you in a state of calmness, your reactions change as well. Your reactions to certain things. When you have order within your life, your reactions will change. You won't overreact. You won't go towards anger immediately, that is. You won't be put in that state. Because you understand the bigger picture. You're not going towards overreacting, being sporadic, going on a spiral. You're not going to do that. Being disciplined. or what these motherfuckers like to call it, crashing out. You're not going to crash out, because that calm presence, that emotional steadiness, that shit is so fucking rare. That shit is so fucking rare. And when you can have that, when you hone that, when you develop that, this is where you separate yourself from most men. This is where you act accordingly as that disciplined man, as that rare breed. And when you're that rare dude, that rarity, that's attraction within itself. Rare. So let's be clear with all this. Discipline isn't building attraction to impress. It's attraction to how it changes you. It builds the body and mindset that doesn't need approval. It builds calmness and standards. And that combination is fucking undeniable, bro. That combination, all that I said right there, is undeniable. So if you're someone right now, dude, who's being constantly overlooked, ignored, you know, the answer isn't more motivation, bro. It's not. You have to have some kind of structure to maneuver in this fucking world. And that's what Kombe Mentality is built around. So if you're someone right now seeking in terms of building that discipline, there'll be a link down below. But that's all for today's video, man. Kombe Mentality, check it out.